Welcome back, trainers. So we're going to be doing my final Sinnoh Stone evolution, which is going to be Honchkrow into Markrow. I don't know why I waited until the very end for this one, because I was most excited for this as well. Now, this is actually going to find some usability in PvP, seeing that it is going to be a dark type. It's going to be weak to fighting, but since it is picking up that flying type, it's just going to be neutral damage as well as bug types. But necessarily bugs are not a big threat in PvP unless you're using a Scizor. So let's go ahead and do this because I've been waiting for this for quite some time. Take a look at the trainer there. That is the one I'm actually going up against, Chirk. So much appreciated for the battles as well. Now, let's see what we have here. And we're going to take a look at its movesets and stats to see what you're going to want on this and see how well it will perform and everything like that. So let's go ahead and do this. Markrow. It's about time if it will go. All right, thank goodness. So I hope everybody had a great holiday. I just kind of didn't really relax. Well, I relaxed a little bit, but staying on the grind, you know how it is. And there we go. Wow, that looks very good. I've seen them in the gyms already, but it's nice to finally have mine. And it's maxed out, so we're not even going to have to power it up one time. Look at that. And it's lucky. I wanted to go for this lucky one because, well, it's completely maxed out. And every single other one I had here, let's go ahead and take a look. So it has Peck and Dark Pulse. Okay, you want those two charge bar moves for PvP. So I do have a nice assortment of them right here. So I didn't go for that. Next time I might, when I get a few more Sinnoh Stones. And if you're having trouble with those, remember, if you can't find people to battle with, at least once a day you can go to one of your trainers up here and pick any of them. Doesn't matter if it's your team or not. Doesn't matter what league you go into as well. As long as you battle them once a day, you will have the opportunity to possibly get a Sinnoh Stone. So yeah. And don't these battles just look nice in the snow? I'm not too sure if it's a bug or something, but at times the snow seems intense. Like to the point where it's oversaturated with flakes. But I'm not complaining. It looks great nonetheless. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at Honchkrow, see what we have going on. It's going to be a Dark and Flying type, max CP 2,711, attack 243, defense 103, and stamina 225. So it's going to be able to take a few hits. The defense isn't the best around, but the stamina is okay for its HP. And then you have a fairly good attack stat. As a matter of fact, that's fantastic. So that is okay for Honchkrow. If you have something that goes into a PvP battle that has some sort of rock move, you better look out. It's going to hurt quite a bit, obviously. And also these moves, electric, fairy, and ice types, as well as rock, of course. Resisting ground, psychic, dark, ghost, and grass type Pokemon. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at its moves to see if it can combat any of those weaknesses there. So it's going to have Snarl and Peck for the quick moves. Then you have Brave Bird, Psychic, and Dark Pulse. Best moveset is going to be Snarl and Dark Pulse. Snarl, Brave Bird, but the thing about Brave Bird is it's just one big charge bar move. It's going to take forever to get it up. And then once you do, you're probably going to have to use a shield. Dark Pulse is going to be within your best interest to have. I mean, it's not a horrible option if you are going up against, say, a Venusaur. People like to use that. Fairly good Pokemon for PvP. Psychic is going to be super effective towards it. But if you do have Brave Bird, I mean, might as well go with that. And of course, if you unlock a secondary move, Dark Pulse is going to be your #1 option. Brave Bird is going to help you get super effective damage onto that Venusaur, of course. And which one of these moves, Snarl or Peck, is going to be gaining your energy faster to get off those charge moves? That's going to be Snarl, sitting at 10.9. All right, super effective to Ghost and Psychic, as you can see there. And then we have Peck, that is sitting at 10 EPS. So it's not like it's super far behind from Snarl or anything, but this one is definitely going to be a little bit quicker, okay? It just really depends on the coverage you're trying to look for. If you need something super effective to fighting in grass types for some reason, I mean, grass type, super effective. You have that Venusaur coming into all different leagues, performing quite well with that Community Day move, so it is somewhat of a threat. Having this flying type with Peck could serve some purpose somewhere along the line. Although, I want to be honest with you, going into the Great League, not necessarily the Great League, but the Ultra League, there's not too many psychic type threats. I mean, what do you have? Alakazam, if you're not playing with legendaries, right? And Alakazam, really, it just doesn't last long in the battle. You don't really need super effective moves. It just, you hit it for neutral and you're good to go. So I find that dark type Pokemon are not useless or anything whatsoever. It's just, you know, you have Tyranitar, but then again, you're probably going to want to go with like Crunch. Stone Edge is going to be great and all, but you know, I think even Bite is performing a little bit better than Smackdown. It's crazy. Every time I go up against a Tyranitar with Bite, it's just dealing absurd amounts of damage. My Pokemon gets almost defeated before I can even get off a charge move. It's pretty intense. So anyways, dark type Pokemon in PvP, they do have usability, but for the most part, it's just like, what am I going to use this for right now? All right, trainers, now this is where things get very interesting. Now, I know this Weavile is a 100, but it doesn't really matter. It's still going to be better, even if it's a 85%. Still going to perform better than Tyranitar. So number 1 dark attacker is going to be Weavile. Then number 2 is going to be Honchkrow. Yes, that is right, with Snarl and Dark Pulse sitting at 32.7. Now, mine currently has Peck, and I don't really want to change it right now, so I'm just going to leave it like that. That's why it looks different from the others. I just had to get the perfect number there. And then for the Tyranitar, it is sitting at 31.8 with Bite and Crunch. And the Weavile, of course, has Snarl and Foul Play. So pretty amazing that Honchkrow is now the second best dark attacker in the game currently. Keep in mind, we do have more coming down the line, like Darkrai. That is going to be a fantastic dark Pokemon. Not only that, but it looks amazing as well. So there you have the top dark attackers currently in Pokemon Go. Weavile with Snarl and Foul Play, Honchkrow with Snarl and Dark Pulse, then Tyranitar, Bite, and Crunch. Now there is a couple others that are just a hair behind Tyranitar, including Absol and Houndoom. We're going to take a look at those. So Tyranitar is sitting at 31.8. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at the others to see how well they're performing. All right, so we have the graph of who's doing the most damage. Now, technically, Absol is going to be doing the most out of all of these right here because it is only at level 36.5. If I did power it and max it out completely, it would be doing more damage than 31.8. It's sitting at 31.3 currently, and Houndoom is sitting at 31.9 with Snarl and Foul Play, Snarl and Dark Pulse for the Absol, and then Crunch and Bite for the Tyranitar, right? So the Tyranitar is sitting at 31.8, even with 13 in defense. The lower that defense, the better your damage output is going to be. So if that 13 went down to like a 7 or 8, it might be at 31 or maybe even at 32.1 if that happened. And same with the others here. So yeah, Absol is great, but keep in mind, Absol and Houndoom are not going to be able to last nearly as long as Tyranitar in the battle unless Tyranitar is getting hit by some sort of fighting type moves, in which case it is going to be 4 times weak to that. So keep that in mind. And one more thing before we end this, I highly recommend if you're going to pursue any of these dark type Pokemon, which one should you invest in? Well, out of the 3 that we're looking at, Absol, Houndoom, and Tyranitar, personally, always go with Tyranitar. I wouldn't say always, but that's going to be your better option. Yes, the Absol isn't maxed out, and if it was, it would probably be sitting at 31.9 DPS, which is basically the same as the Houndoom and 0.1 better than Tyranitar. And Tyranitar is just going to last longer in battle, more usability. You have more moves that you can switch up to be usable in PvP, okay? So if you had to invest in one of these, it would be the Tyranitar. But on the other hand, for the others, Weavile and Honchkrow, the choice is yours, whatever you want to go with coverage for. And Weavile is kind of a glass cannon as well, weak to that fighting type. But it's still going to be dishing out a lot of damage. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at Darkrai. It's going to be a pure dark type. Max CP, 3,739 attack, 285 defense, 198 in stamina, 172. Wow, so this thing is no joke for sure. And if you're wondering, is it going to be the best dark attacker in the game? Yeah, it sure is. It's going to be weak to Bug Fairy and Fighting, resisting Psychic, Dark, and Ghost. Technically, dark type Pokemon shouldn't take any damage from Psychic whatsoever. It should just stop flat. Same with Dragon moves to Fairy. Those don't affect fairies whatsoever in the main series games, but in Pokemon Go, well, it does. Snarl and Dark Pulse is going to be its best attack. Faint Attack and Dark Pulse, then Snarl and Shadow Ball, followed up by Snarl Focus Blast. Focus Blast, wow, okay, it's looking good. All right, so let's go ahead and look at its moves. We have Snarl and Faint Attack for the quick moves. For the charge moves, we have Focus Blast, Shadow Ball, and Dark Pulse. That's a fairly good moveset there. And whenever this does come out, which quick move are you going to want to charge your energy up quickest to get those charge moves off in battle? And that is going to be Snarl, sitting at 10.9 EPS, and then we have feint attack at 10. So it's not, too far behind, kind of the same situation as Snarl and Peck. It really depends. But in this case, you're just going to want to go with Snarl because they're both dark attacks, and there is no difference, and Snarl is just clearly the better one, even dishing out more damage. Alright trainers, so I hope you enjoyed this video and you have a better understanding on the dark type Pokemon currently in the game. So if you want the most damage possible, Weavile is what you're going to want to go with. Tyranitar is going to give you a little bit more survivability, although if you went up against a ghost and or psychic type Pokemon, Weavile is still going to perform greatly and do a lot more damage than Tyranitar is, so keep that in mind. And then of course you have Honchkrow here, which is going to be doing more damage than Tyranitar with Snarl and Dark Pulse. And before I let you guys go, let's go ahead and take a look at all of my Sinnoh Stone evolutions. So we have Roserade here. Okay. And if we move down just a little bit, then we have Honchkrow. That's right. Can't wait to test that out, as a matter of fact. And yes, I have the Drapion and the Toxicroak. That's not Sinnoh evolutions, though. Then we have Weavile, of course. And then I have 2 Rhyperiors. Alright, and then the Electivire, Magmortar, Togekiss, and then, oh, there we go, Gliscor, Porygon Z freaking out. Wow. Oh, look at that thing. It's hilarious. Man, I got to show this thing some love. The only downfall is how we went over it, the one massive charge moves. It's not going to do much for you in a PvP match, honestly. Really, at all. Then Dusknoir, okay, and that is it. Yep, and then we just have my Heatrons. All right, and regarding the Melmetal, now, wow, I was very close to purchasing that move, that secondary move. The only thing is, if I go into tournaments, I don't know the legitimacy of using a Melmetal in the tournament or whatever. Maybe some other local tournaments where they just don't allow mythicals or possibly legendaries, which totally I agree with that. It would just be like for fun with my friends. But anyways, you know what I'm getting at here. Melmetal, pretty crazy. I almost bought a secondary move, 100,000 and then 100 candies. Yeah, that's a lot. Anyway, the collection is looking great. Thank you for watching, trainers, and I'll be catching you all next time. Take care.